The story of ABBA is one of the most remarkable journeys in pop music history, defined by unforgettable melodies, dazzling stage presence, and emotional depth beneath its glittering surface. At the center of this legacy stands Benny Andersson, a composer whose musical imagination helped shape some of the most recognizable songs ever recorded. Together with his creative partner Björn Ulvaeus, he built a sound that transcended language and geography. This is not just the history of a band, but a story of love, collaboration, heartbreak, reinvention, and timeless art that continues to resonate across generations and cultures worldwide. Early life and musical foundations of Benny Andersson, born in Stockholm in 1946, Benny Andersson grew up in a household where music was deeply rooted in everyday life. His father and grandfather introduced him to the accordion at an early age, giving him a foundation in melody and rhythm that would later define his composing style. As he grew older, he taught himself piano and absorbed a wide range of influences, from Swedish folk traditions to the emerging sounds of rock and roll. Inspired by artists like Elvis Presley, he left formal schooling early to pursue music full-time, driven by a natural instinct for melody that would eventually shape global pop history. Early career in the meeting of Björn Ulvaeus before global fame, Benny Andersson played in the Swedish pop group Hootenanny Singers, where his songwriting abilities began to attract attention. Around the same time, Björn Ulvaeus was performing with the Hootenanny Singers circle of musicians, eventually crossing paths with Benny in the 1960s. Their meeting marked the beginning of one of pop music's most successful songwriting partnerships. Their early collaborations blended folk sensibilities with contemporary pop structures, creating a distinctive sound. This partnership would later become the creative engine behind ABBA, transforming both artists from local musicians into international icons of songwriting excellence. Formation of ABBA and the vocal partnership. The formation of ABBA came through both personal and professional connections. Benny Andersson and Björn Ulvaeus began working closely with singers Agnetha Fältskog and Anni-Frid Lyngstad, whose powerful and contrasting voices became central to their musical identity. The blending of male songwriting and female vocal harmonies created a unique pop formula that stood out in the early 1970s. After experimenting with different names and arrangements, the group officially became ABBA, a name formed from the initials of its 4 members. This marked the beginning of a new era in Scandinavian pop music with global ambitions. Eurovision breakthrough with Waterloo. In 1974, ABBA achieved international recognition by winning the Eurovision Song Contest with their energetic performance of Waterloo. This victory was a turning point that introduced them to a global audience and set the stage for worldwide success. The song's catchy melody, bold arrangement, and theatrical performance style reflected the creative strength of Benny Andersson and Björn Ulvaeus. More importantly, it demonstrated that non-English-speaking European artists could dominate international pop charts. The success of Waterloo transformed ABBA from rising hopefuls into global pop contenders almost overnight. Global stardom and timeless hits. Following their Eurovision success, ABBA entered a decade of extraordinary global popularity. Songs such as Dancing Queen, Fernando, Mamma Mia, Knowing Me, Knowing You, and The Winner Takes It All became defining tracks of the era. The group's sound combined infectious pop melodies with emotional storytelling, often reflecting both joy and heartbreak. Benny Andersson's compositions played a central role in shaping this identity, blending classical sensibilities with modern pop production. As a result, ABBA became one of the best-selling music acts in history, influencing generations of musicians and producers worldwide. Personal relationships and emotional strain. Behind the polished image of ABBA, personal relationships within the group added emotional complexity to their journey. Both couples in the band experienced marriage and eventual separation during the height of their fame. Agnetha Fältskog and Björn Ulvaeus divorced in 1979, while Benny Andersson and Anni-Frid Lyngstad separated in 1981. Despite these challenges, the group continued working together professionally, though the emotional undercurrents were reflected in their later music. The dynamics within ABBA revealed how deeply intertwined creativity and personal life can become in collaborative artistic success. The Visitors, and a mature sound released in 1981. The Visitors marked a significant shift in ABBA's musical direction. The album explored darker and more introspective themes, including separation, uncertainty, and emotional distance. The sound was more atmospheric and reflective, signaling a departure from the group's earlier upbeat pop style. Benny Andersson's compositional maturity became especially evident as the music embraced complexity and emotional depth. For ABBA, this album represented both artistic evolution and the beginning of the end of their active recording era together. Breakup and quiet departure from the spotlight. By late 1982, ABBA had effectively stepped away from the spotlight without an official public breakup announcement. The members chose to pursue individual creative paths, marking the end of one of pop music's most successful collaborations. Despite their separation, the legacy of their music continued to grow, gaining new audiences across decades. Benny Andersson and Björn Ulvaeus moved toward composing for stage productions, while the vocalists explored solo careers. Even after their separation, ABBA remained a defining force in global pop culture. Musical theater, Mamma Mia, and ABBA Voyage. After ABBA's active years, Benny Andersson and Björn Ulvaeus found new success in musical theater, most notably with the stage production Chess, and later the global phenomenon Mamma Mia. These works reintroduced ABBA's music to new generations in theatrical form. In recent years, the innovative concert experience ABBA Voyage in London has used digital technology to recreate the band's performances, allowing audiences to experience their music in a new way. Through these projects, ABBA continues to evolve beyond its original era. Conclusion: a legacy that transcends time. The legacy of ABBA is not only built on chart success, but on emotional storytelling, musical craftsmanship, and enduring human connection. Benny Andersson's genius lies in his ability to turn personal emotion into universal melody, while the collaboration with Björn Ulvaeus created one of the most successful songwriting partnerships in history. Decades after their peak, their music continues to inspire, comfort, and energize audiences around the world. Ultimately, ABBA remains more than a band. It is a timeless reminder of how music can outlast time, trends, and even the people who created it.